this is Wendy. I'm back again. It's been a long time since I have been on YouTube. I have been creating, but I've just been so busy. As most of you know, that if you're doing YouTubes, that the filming process is probably easy, but all the editing and the time that goes into that is a bit time consuming. And with family commitments shifting, a few little disasters that have occurred around my area, and the wonderful pandemic, life has been a little bit chaotic. So last night I was creating some memory boards. Actually over the last couple of days just playing, and I have got so much on my desk today. I thought I'd just start getting in and using everything that is on my desk before I start cleaning up. I'm just going to start creating some items just for some journal pages. Kind of like going by the seat of my pants here today. Just got scrapbooking paper, and as you can see there, just prints. Might do some work with some stenciling. As I said, it's been a while since I have been on. We shifted house. I was doing some major projects with uni, which took up a lot of my time, and that was last year. In recent times, just been very, very busy with work. As you're aware, there's this thing out in the big wide world at the moment called COVID, and as a healthcare professional, it's just been a bit draining. While I've been doing my art, I have basically, I guess, trying to look after my own health and well-being, have been focused on me and my family. And I feel I'm just back into a position where I would like to get in and start doing some more demonstrations again with my YouTube. So I'm just making some little tags at the moment. I might put these aside soon and I'll come back to them later. But before I do that, just rounding off. And so last year my family and I, we've finally settled into our own house again, which has been absolutely wonderful. After shifting back down to the Brisbane area, it just took us a little time to find the right house for us. It's absolutely beautiful where I am. There's some parks only a couple of minutes down the road where there is a nice lake and beautiful birds. We were lucky enough, my husband's birthday just the end of last year, that we saw a powerful owl. And there's so many other birds. I get to hear whip birds in the morning when I have my cup of tea. So it's beautiful. Still a city sort of living, but surrounded by beautiful bushland. So just inking my pages. I think I am a bit of an inker, like many of you. So I'm just using the distressed ink, and the vintage photos I think is my favourite to go to. Momentary pause. Trying to think of things to say. As I said, I have been creating, posting occasionally on Instagram and Facebook, but just keeping to myself and plodding along. It's nice to have my own room again. I really do need to sort it out once more. My family continues to complain that I've probably got too much stuff. And I know the delivery name by name just about. I'm sure there is no one else out there in the crafting world that has the same situation as me. Slight hint of sarcasm. So I've just distressed those. Put those to the side. There's a bit from everywhere. Let's use that in the journal page somewhere. I've been making tea and coffee stained papers and been curating a few journals. Oh, I had such a ditzy moment the other day cutting up pages for the journal, and then when I was shortening them to actually fit into a new journal, I cut them on the wrong side, so I've ended up with a couple of extra little sheets. But yeah, stickers and everything galore on here. And I hope the world has been treating you well. It's been a little bit crazy. I think the most important thing I have learnt over the last 2 years is to make sure that I get in touch with me and I am happy and healthy with the way things are going. I find things become, I guess, starting to build up, feel comfortable and overbearing. I just take out time. I think many of us have learned our own ways to cope and de-stress. And that for me has been playing in my art room yet again. I was trying to find things to play with. I'm enjoying a bit of collage at the present stage. Recently, after following a few pages, I've started to use glue stick. I haven't really used it a lot because it has lifted for me in the past, but making a few things for junk journals or just general embellishments, it has been quite handy making the collage. And the other glue I really love is the art glitter glue. By the feels of it, I'm going to have to refill that shortly. I might make some little tags just with a bit of collage. These little sheets. Let's give a bit of background. So the art glitter glue for me has been a big changer. I love having especially the needlepoint nib on it to get right to the edges of what I'm working on. Make sure I get that swallow just there. Don't mind if his tail is just off the edge. I have taken to using a spoon for my burnishing, just to settle it down. I was at uni last year doing printmaking. It was one of the suggestions there. I also have, for really heavy sturdy paper, I've actually got a deer antler that I use for burnishing. I was doing a study and it looked at printmaking in generations past, that they had limited supplies, and in Europe some of the printmasters would use deer antlers because they were firm and very smooth, and when you've worked them a bit they have a really fine edge to them. So I have one that I've been using. Don't use it on these little things because it is a bit rougher on just the printed paper. However, on some of the heavy paper they use for printmaking, it is actually quite nice. Okie dokie. I think I might take off these. Let's flip that over to get an even edge, as symmetrical as possible. Punch a little hole. And of course a bit of de-stressing. Today I did want to make a lot of embellishments, tags, and I'll see how I go. Over the past couple of weeks I've just made a few journals that I am just, this one was just through scrap paper. I've already started to add a few bits and pieces, little tags inside, some little paper clips. So I just want to create a few more things that I can add to the journals. So that was made of scrap paper. These two I have just made out of textured paper, some paper that I've sprayed with inks, once again more textured paper, and just sewing these signatures in. Just textures like that one. Just book pages that I've printed. Just with those covers, and same with this one. So ready to colour and put in a few things. So yes, lots of tags to create, I think. Okay, so I had a little bit of an oops. I had to go and do a couple of things, turned the video off, came back, started doing something, and forgot to turn it back on. So all I had was it was an information sheet out of a package similar to this one. So I've just put, I'm looking at making a journaling card. So on one side I've just added some plain paper, graphy sort of paper, it's just a print, and paper off the edge of the tag we've just made. So I've just put that on, and I'm just going to collage this little one. So in amongst all of that, we had some excitement. I had to go make a cup of tea, which is extremely important. You cannot have too many cup of teas in one day. I'm not addicted to anything much but craft supplies and tea. However, during that period, the dogs went crazy because the mailman, something turned up for me. So because I'm doing the journals, I've ordered, and this was just through Amazon, just some corners. So on my little books, my art journals, I thought just to give them a little bit more protection is putting these on. So I might pick out some of those later and attach those to my art journals. So it just gives, I like the fact that it just gives a little bit more strength to those journals. So they were really great. I think there's over 100 corners that you can actually add. So it'll be fun to go through and sort those out. Yes, my family is right. I do have things turning up every day. Well, maybe not every day. Just getting that back and closed. So I live in the southeast corner of Queensland. Over the past month and a bit, we've had a few issues with rain. We've had some significant rainfalls last month, even to the point that where I work as a nurse, there was a significant amount of people that just could not turn up for their shifts because they were actually cut off from waters. It was crazy. Over a 5-day period, we had over 1,000 mils of water. As you can imagine, the water was a bit high. Many creeks flooded, just local areas flooded as well. It then moved down to New South Wales. And New South Wales had the same big rainfall that we did. It was just absolutely crazy. And we thought, oh yes, everything has passed, and then about a week later it started to rain again. My area didn't have as much, but other parts of southeast Queensland were once again hit by major downpours. And so there have been hundreds of people displaced with the floodwaters, probably thousands, considering the 2 states. So it has been absolutely, it's been crazy. And even this week, several weeks down the track, it's once again raining. I think every time it rains now, people are a bit nervous, but the underwater table levels here are just absolutely saturated. So every time there's rain, there's nowhere for it to be sucked up to, and yeah, everything just sits on top. I think I might put a bit of lacing up on the top. So there have been plenty of fundraisers going on to raise money for people in need. Australia's a funny place. It's with such diversity, you probably see it in the States as well. I think it happens in a larger land masses more than the smaller country continent, is that because we're so big, we'll have major floods on the east coast of Australia, And then over on the west coast they've got record high temperatures in the 40 degrees Celsius, so I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. And then they've got bushfires as well. So just like these, can't remember where I got these from. They're basically just some cute little prints. I didn't want to spend too much time and effort. I'll trim that back down. I was going to do some more collage work, but I was just feeling a bit lazy. Now I should have, oops, I'm just going to pause that for a minute and shift that lead so you don't wobble. Okay, hopefully that's a little bit better. Just going to trim this down. Just taking some edges off. I've had this little guillotine for a while. I think I might have to look at some stage of getting the blade on the arm replaced. I'll have to look around for it. It was a creative memories little guillotine, and it has to be over 20 years old, and I've got the original punch too, that once again it's about 20 years old. In amongst shifting at one stage, I misplaced it and couldn't find my corner punch, which I was almost devastated about, because it was my favourite. But I got a similar one. It's been okay, but it hasn't been as sharp or consistent as the original Creative Memories one. I think I might round the corners. And then I'll just ink that. When that is dry, I might come back and add a few little bits and pieces on top of that. So, considered myself extremely lucky during the floods. I only live probably less than 150 metres from a creek. However, I'm on the high side of the banks, and the water levels didn't come anywhere near us. The other side of the creek, however, is the lower end and floodplains, so they sadly got very, very wet. There's been a lot of local support. I'm not too sure about that. I'm just going to put that to the side for the moment. Bits and pieces everywhere. Okay, I'm going to use some of these little cards. Once again, I might put something on the back so I can actually do a bit of journaling on the back end of these. With these later, because I'm using just the glue, once I've finished adding a few more things here, and that's why I'm letting it dry too, is that I'm going to sew a few of these just around the edges That way they won't lift either. I'm just placing that down. Not the neatest person. I want to get my spoon just to burnish that down. So what do people use to burnish? Does anyone else use a spoon? It's getting nice and shiny and smooth on me. I've been using it for a little while. Just after my scissors again. I put things down and it is probably in plain sight of me because I've only just used it. You can probably even see it. Where I'm not quite sure I've put the other ones. I'll just use these. So I've been collecting bits and pieces. People at work drop these little cards off for others to share. When they're out of date, I like grabbing them and just using them for a few craft projects. So there I've got the back that I can actually do a little bit of journaling on that one. I might add something a bit different to that, so it's going the other way. Do like that one. Sorry, out of practice with talking. Often I sit in here most days and just play along, not talking to anyone much until the dogs walk in or my teenagers are after something. So I'm feeling very grateful. Both of my kids are quite happy and content at the present stage. My youngest just finished high school last year. With COVID over the last 2 years, while she was finishing off her seniors, it was quite daunting and stressful, particularly doing all the maths, science and computing subjects. She spent so much time, did exceptionally well in her results, and was able to gain a really good position into university or what she wanted to study. Maybe she's going to take a year off just to save up some money to buy a car, just chillax, and just look after her well-being this year before getting into 6 years of study. My eldest, she's in her 4th year this year at university. She's still got another 2 years to go. And both of them have picked double majors in the areas of medical research, so they are they're very smart little girls. Got their heads screwed on well and have got a few years ahead of them with study. So I think they'll be here with me for a while, which I don't mind at all. My husband and I thought we'd start being empty nesters soon, kids going on to other things, but we just plod along at work and the girls can hang around with us at home. Okay, I think I might grab, I've got some printables that I also want to use. I'm just looking at something simple to actually just put on these rather than spending a lot of time. Oh, at some point today I'm just going through it. I need to clean up my room and sort things out. Okay, I think I might use this one. So I've created some of my own masterboards recently, and then make copies of them. So just with a bit of collage, stickers, like that one there. So I like the fact that you can create these. They do take a bit of time, but I've keep the original masterboard and then print them off. And then when creating tags, I can just put them down. Just take that. Now I like so much I like on there. I'll incorporate that red. You can see that over there. Right to the edge. Just cut that out. So I just have a inkjet printer. I subscribe to Graphic Fairy, which I find really, really great. You can get lots of printables, vintage, other levels of ephemera are available there. But this one is something that I've created myself. I did make these. I was following oh my goodness, Gail. Sorry, Gail, I can't remember your surname. I've got a mental fog today, but I'll put the link in below. Is that just creating some cards, putting out, in my cards I put out 8 of just general, I've used the Kaiser Craft stock paper. On this one I've just made off one sheet of A4 paper, I make 8 different ACT little cards, artist trading cards size tags. I put them down, and then as I say, following Gail, I've just put a whole lot of collage down and then cut them out. So you end up with some really cool little images that you can then add things to later. So I'm trying to be good, creating a whole lot of little things and scraps that I have. So then when I'm actually doing my journals, I can just pick up bits and pieces and put them in as I go. So I don't put a lot on these cards just at the moment, using them as a bit of a backing, so when I'm actually doing the adding to the journal, if I have a particular theme, I can pick something up and then add bits to it, whether it be words, sentiments, or additional embellishments on it. So that has come up okay. Now this one, and I think I might incorporate those. I hear the rumbling of traffic going through at the moment. It's normally quite quiet. I live in a no-through road. A few people travelling around today. Oh no, I think I've changed my mind. Incorporate those there. I'll slightly see the image through the background. So where I've shifted to, I'm very happy. I've got a lovely little scrap-looking store close by. It's only about 5 minutes away, which I've been able to pick up little bits and pieces, and often with really good tools available. And we also have Spotlight and Office Works near me, so it's really quite handy having everything central. When I was living out in the country, I was fortunate to have a wonderful friend that had a arts and craft store. She kept me sane. That's the beautiful Tanya. However, moving back to the city, I miss her dearly, but I've been fortunate where I am to have everything at my fingertips, and there's always Amazon. Okay, and another just little card. So with those later on, I'll just go around the borders with maybe a bit of a zigzag or a cross stitch. So that's those little ones that we've created there so far this morning. So pretty happy with that. Okay, so we've broken down a little bit of what I have here. Now to work out what's next. What else have I got? Okay, I might do a bit of collaging on this one, and then we can cut it down into a few pieces. So what does that work out? 21 centimeters. A couple of tags. I can either make 2 big tags or I can cut them down into smaller. Okay. Scrappy, scrappy. I do enjoy mucking around with bits and pieces of paper. I don't have, when I start a project, I guess sometimes I will have a clear idea of where I want to go with it. Other times, like today, it is just going by the see my paint. I'm not quite sure where I'm going to go, but we just keep adding bits and pieces. And just playing. So when I'm making the art journals, I had a clear idea of what I wanted to do. Some things changed slightly when I was putting paper in, just trying to work out what I actually wanted to include. But I've been making up stained papers. Actually, one paper I wanted to try was, someone can probably let me know, we'll try it shortly, is using green tea and staining. So I've got various different books, old textbooks that I used when I was studying years and years ago, as well as some old medical journals. One that I've used, as well as really, really old text. I think this is a very early edition in the early 90s of Grey's Anatomy. Not the movie, but the original book. So, just adding bits. I am thinking about keeping this one a little bit neutral at the moment, on heavy images, but more of, as you can see here, background sort of work. So that way, when it is finished, I can actually put maybe some journaling on it. No rhyme or reason for these at times. Okey-dokey. Now, I'm trying to think of interesting antidotes, things that I've done. Oh dear. Oh, I lead a pretty boring, uneventful life, I think. which is okay by me. Sometimes boring can be very satisfying. Nothing majorly exciting, isn't it terrible? Sadly, I haven't been doing any travelling. Yeah, it's pretty sad. No, it's not really sad. It's just me. I like that. I live vicariously through others at the present stage. But between work, my house, it's I haven't been in here a huge amount. I think so. It's only been 9 months since we've been in. There's still things that we're doing around the place, so it's renovation, making it the way that we wanted, which is fun and exciting for us. It's like, I must today go and do some work on my front yard. I've got a lovely garden just outside my window, which is lovely. There's a little bird bath, so the honey eaters and a few other local birds that come in and have a little bath. And it's a little bit overgrown. Not much of a chance with the rain to actually get in and do a lot of gardening. Every time I want to, it's raining. But it is drizzling again today. However, I'm just going to get out there and have some fun. Sorry, some interesting sounds are coming out from me. Oops. Just some plain stuff down at the present. Keep seeing those stamps. They may have to become involved in this little image at some point. Just after something a little bit different. It's a bit of leather-like paper in there at the moment. I don't care too much that it's straight there. I want to add bits and pieces over that. Trying to hide most of the straight edges. I do like that rougher sort of look. So come in there like so. I am looking for, so now I've got to take my eldest daughter out. Poor girl has constantly had hassles with allergies through her life. It's taken us a while to actually get her need to see the right doctor to get her treated for these allergies. Nothing life-threatening, but it's more of an irritation with ongoing sinus issues, etc. So we've got to go and get our second lot of shots today. I'm not quite sure where to go there. Which means that where we're going is near the second-hand bookstore. I'd like to get some older books, music papers. One thing I don't know if they were thrown out during our last lot of shifts or what's happened to them, but I just cannot find my old music scripts. Which is quite sad about. So I need some music paper. Oh, that's cute. Bring that in a little bit. So I shall have fun. It's a very good bookstore. I haven't been there for such a long time. But getting in and just finding old magazines, manuscripts, and just old text, especially with the worn pages. The way that this is turning, I think I might add, similar to here, a few more strips in there, just to break up that big section. When I was putting this paper on, I actually had ideas of the meat running up here, but as I've gone along, I think they'll end up making the cards coming down this way. It's the way that the text has ended up going. So I'll keep going with that. And what do I want in there? Green paper's calling to me. Let's tear this down a bit. Not sure how anyone else feels, but this sort of work for me is, I find, very therapeutic. Just to sit back and I think even the process of just tearing bits of paper is rather enjoyable for me. I don't have to worry about issues of the world. Just block everything out. Just have a little bit of fun. So all I'm doing at the moment is just breaking down some of those bigger blocks. Oh, that didn't stick very well. Okay. I'll trim that down. Oops, stuck it down. So I think this bit of card it was just in some packing. Can't remember what now. I saved lots of bits and pieces. Now, I do throw out some things, small bits that I feel that I just can't use anymore. So, pretty happy with that. Now, in inches, what shall I make this into? So, it's quite over 8 inches. I might make a couple of, I'm thinking I'm actually liking the 2 inches. Oops. So that's cute. So just instead of, I find it so frustrating. I used to, and so that one's slightly bigger, not much. I'll leave it at that size there. I used to try to do these individually, as in get the ACT cards and you know, just put collage on them like this. Very fiddly, and I found it frustrating because I didn't know what to add. However, I found that you know, by watching some other YouTubers, that they would get the larger sheets, collage the big sheet, and then cut them down into smaller sizes, which I found so handy. Once I learnt to do that, making the cards has just been so much easier. I'm not quite sure if I actually want to round that or keep it as is. Just going to put a bit of glue down here just to bring that in. It's actually quite, it's a little bit tatty on that corner. I like that. I think I might leave these ones square at the present stage. Oh, that's quite good. Okay, so this morning I have created a couple of bits and pieces. So with the humidity at the moment, some of these aren't quite dry, but we'll continue to add and grow. So I've made those little ones. Just thinking these might be cute little pockets too. Just putting a little bit of a hole punch in there. I like that. Even like the other side, it's cute. Not quite even, that's okay. So either side. So when I put this into my journal, I can put that in. Pick up my smaller journal here. Keep it a page. And that can, if I glue just around the edges, actually I think I like that purple. And then I'll be able to add a little tag into that. Actually, I like that. I might add that right there. So this is where I love the art glitter glue. Just adding a fine line of glue around the edges. It glues so well, dries so fast. Did used to use a lot of tape, double-sided tape. I did find that, as many people have said, the double-sided tape works really well. However, when you put in tags, if there's a small amount of that double-sided tape sticking up, it will grab and things stick, whereas the glue, once it's dried, it's dried. So that's cute. So got a little tag there now. You can go into that little pocket. I like that tag. We might add something to that a little later. Put a few more embellishments on it, maybe even a little bit of bling. But yeah, so I'm pretty happy with that today. So thank you for joining me. Sorry it's been a while, but I will come back and do a few more videos. Thanks for your time this morning.